Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Jared Watson here, and this is episode 2 of my new podcast, the Jared Watson MLB podcast. In this podcast, we talk about all things baseball, including trade rumors, free agency, spring training, and we're going to lead into the regular season. And I'll give you all the breaking news you want to hear. Thank you for the support on the last episode. It means a lot to me. I'm going to continue to do this. I don't really have a timetable yet for it, but I love what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it. So let's get into the baseball news. First of all, the second biggest free agent has signed. Manny Machado is going to the San Diego Padres. The deal is around 10 years with an opt-out after 5 years and a partial no-trade clause. It's the biggest free agent deal in the history of American sports, surpassing the 10-year, $275 million contract that Alex Rodriguez signed back in 2007. Manny is going to be making $300 million. I don't think this is a shock for most of us. We kind of expected this going in. He was the second biggest free agent name on the market after Bryce Harper. The Padres needed a hole, or they needed to fill a hole at third base, and they did that. And I read a tweet from John Heyman earlier saying that Manny is going to be playing mostly third. He might get some time at shortstop in the meantime until Fernando Tatis Jr. comes up from the minor leagues. We will see how that goes about. He might even make the opening day roster. He's that good. And he's still young. He's really young. I think he's only 19 or 20. So that's going to be good for the Padres. They got the most loaded farm system, ranked number 1 in all the majors. Plus, you add Machado to that mix. This team got significantly better. They didn't have a third baseman since Chase Headley. Machado fills that hole. And we all know Manny Machado is a better third baseman than shortstop. He wants to play shortstop, but he is a platinum glove third baseman. So the Padres got a platinum glove third baseman who can hit about 30 bombs a year, get at least 90 RBI. Manny got paid, and I told you in the first episode that he was going to, and he did. 10 years, $300 million, largest contract in really any sports history. It's good for Manny. It's good for baseball. He can opt out after the 5th year, which is a good thing for him because that would make him 31. Still, I wouldn't say in his prime, but still a good age to go back into free agency if he wants to take that route. The Padres are going to be good. I don't think they'll win the division for another couple years, but they're still in their rebuild phase. It's a pretty loaded infield if you think about it. Manny at third, presumably. He is most likely going to be a third, which he should be. Doesn't matter if he wants to or not. He is most likely going to be a third. Then you have the up-and-coming star of Fernando Tatis Jr. playing shortstop. Tall kid, too. He's like 6'3". Tall, really tall shortstop. Then you got Luis Urias, another young prospect of theirs that's going to play second base. But they also have Ian Kinsler that they just signed for 2 years. So you're going to have Kinsler starting at second, most likely. And then you got Eric Hosmer at first, who signed a 7-year deal last offseason. But I think what's going to happen is that the Padres infield on opening day is going to be something along the lines of Manny Machado at third, Luis Urias at short, Kinsler at second and Hosmer at first, but that could be changed. It could be Urias at third and Manny at short. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think he's going to be at third, which is good for him, because I don't know if he knows it or not, but he is definitely a better third baseman than shortstop. That's just a fact. Then, of course, you got Will Myers. They tried him a little bit at third last year. Didn't really work out as well as they thought. Then they had him at first base for the longest time until getting Eric Hosmer. I think they're going to try to put Myers either in left or right field, most likely left field, wherever he feels most comfortable, I would think. But yeah, the Padres are going to be better, but they're not going to be there yet. Just give them a couple years. And that's what these people on Twitter, I'm reading about how people on Twitter say they're still going to be a losing team. Well, that's a given. This is not the year they build. This is still a part of a rebuild. They're just trying to get mega superstars to build around. They have Manny and Eric Hosmer now. That's two pretty big stars right there. And then they have the number one farm system in all of the majors. I say the Padres are going to be good. Give them 2 to 3 years, and I think they'll be up there with the Dodgers. I really do. Anyway, moving on. I told you all last week that the Brewers and Mike Moustakas were a perfect pair. Mike Moustakas needed to go back to the Brewers. Well, guess what? He did. Mike Moustakas has signed a 1-year deal with Milwaukee. I love this deal. I really do. I love this deal. I told you in the last episode, the perfect fit for Mike Moustakas is right back in Milwaukee. Their lineup, the Brewers lineup would not have been the same without Mike Moustakas. He was a powerful bat that they can rely on, especially in the postseason last year. I just think all around it's a good move, cheap move. I think it only cost them $9 million. That'll give them some assurance in their lineup. Now you have Moustakas at third, and you're going to move Travis Shaw to second, I presume. Anyway, this is a great deal for both sides. Mike fit well there. I think that the Brewers are going to be in contention for the division in the National League Central. It's going to be between them and the Cubs, I think, just like last year. And, of course, they had to play a game 163 to determine the winner last year. And I think the Brewers will be right back in the postseason. On to some other news. The Baltimore Orioles actually have signed former Royals shortstop Alcides Escobar. Escobar signed a minor league deal with the O's. The O's needed a shortstop ever since J.J. Hardy left and retired. They moved Manny there last year. Manny got traded to the Dodgers. They put Beckham back out there, Tim Beckham back out there after that. They switched between him and Jonathan Villar. Beckham went to Seattle this offseason. So the Orioles were in need of a shortstop. They picked shortstop Richie Martin, who was in the Oakland A's organization. They picked him up in the Rule 5 draft, giving him a shot. And they also picked up Drew Jackson, a young shortstop from the Phillies organization in the Rule 5 as well. So they have some depth there now. They got a veteran presence in Alcides Escobar, who's been in the major leagues, I believe, 11 years now. So it's a solid move, I would say. If you're the Orioles, you're going to be rebuilding. You're not going to be good for a while. Signing a veteran presence like Escobar helps your young players grow. And it's only a minor league deal. I believe it's around somewhere like the $900,000 range. But it's a minor league deal, 1 year. He might be a trade piece at the trade deadline. You never know, to get some more prospects. So right now, my opening lineup position player-wise for the Orioles would be Renato Nunez at third, Alcides Escobar at short, Jonathan VR at second, and Chris Davis at first. You're going to have Trumbo DHing, Mancini probably in left field, Cedric Mullins in center, and I'm not sure about right, maybe DJ Stewart or Joey Rickard, or maybe even Eric Young Jr., who they just signed, another veteran bat. We'll see. So we got some other big news this week. Not regarding a free agent player or a trade. The San Francisco Giants manager, Bruce Bochy, has said that it's time for him to retire. So Bruce Bochy became the manager of the San Francisco Giants in 2007. He actually got them to 3 World Series and won all 3. 2010, 12, and 14. He managed for 25 years. Here's a quote from Bochy. He says, "In my mind, it's time. It's been an unbelievable ride. There is so much I'm grateful for with the players, the city, the fans. It's time now." End quote. He's turning 64 in April. I think his team was a little shocked by the announcement, but Bochy, like I said before, he's been around 25 years. He's getting older. I think this is a good move for him and his family and his well-being. The Giants are in no rush to get a new manager quite yet. I think they'll start worrying about that in the offseason. They have all this upcoming season to think about it. But Bochy is going to be a Hall of Fame manager by far. He led the team to 3 World Series championships on the even-numbered year. Too bad they couldn't get it done in 2016. But Bruce Bochy, San Francisco Giants manager, retiring after 25 years in Major League Baseball. Great manager. Going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. So the Giants, along with the announcement of Bruce Bochy retiring after the end of the season, they've added some more bullpen depth. They have signed Nick Vincent of the Seattle Mariners last year. Signed him to a minor league deal, stacking up their bullpen. I mean, you can never have too many bullpen arms. Pitching in general, you can have too much pitching. Again, I feel like I'm saying this over and over, but these are low-risk, high-reward deals. 1 year, no commitment. If Nick Vincent has a monster year this year, he can go back on the free agent market next offseason and get paid even more. And maybe it wouldn't be a minor league deal. Maybe it'll be a major league deal. We never know. But these are good, solid moves. He will certainly help the Giants' pen. Good move. I feel like I say this a lot. I mean, these are all good moves, honestly. Low risk, high reward. Let me say it again for you so you all remember. Low risk, high reward. So some other minor news coming in this past week. The Tigers have stacked their infield up even more, going with Josh Harrison, the former Pittsburgh Pirate, on a 1-year deal. The Tigers, I believe, got Jordy Mercer at short this past November. They're still kind of in a rebuild phase too. Miguel Cabrera coming back at first base. Third base is probably either going to be Nick Castellanos or one of their younger players. This just gives them a little bit more depth. It's only a 1-year deal. Harrison will be back in the free agent market next season. So a low-risk, high-reward signing for the Detroit Tigers. Some other minor league news. Tyler Clippard, righty reliever, has signed a minor league deal with the Indians, the Cleveland Indians, who are also trying to bolster up their bullpen. Andrew Miller and Cody Allen leaving. They re-signed Oliver Perez. They got Neil Ramirez. They got a couple pieces in there, but they're adding to the pen. This is a good, solid signing again, low risk. I don't see a problem with it. The Philadelphia Phillies have re-signed infielder Trevor Plouffe to a minor league deal. Again, I like this signing a lot. Trevor Plouffe, just think about this. Trevor Plouffe used to start for the Minnesota Twins at third base every game. He is now kind of being used as a utility bench player. He will probably be on the opening day roster for the Phillies if all goes well. And he'll be that guy that can pretty much fill any spot in. Those kind of people are good to have on your team. And some more minor league news. The New York Mets signing infielder Adeiny Echeverria to a minor league deal. Echeverria was on the Yankees for the latter part of last season. Helped them big time defensive play in the wild card game against the Oakland A's at third base. Again, the Mets have a stacked infield. Now with the addition of Echeverria, you also have Todd Frazier, Dominic Smith. Peter Alonso is coming up. Yeah, I heard he's hitting home runs. Their number one first base prospect, hitting home runs in spring training. And the thing is, he's kind of an older prospect, too. He's like 25. So most likely he'll be in the majors sometime this year. You also have Jeff McNeil. He was a star utility player for them last year. And then you got the additions of Jed Lowry and Robinson Cano, along with Ahmed Rosario. So you have a pretty stacked infield, New York. I like it. I like depth. You can never have too much. Again, minor league deal, so he might be in AAA. We'll see, and that's what spring training is all about. Who will earn that bench spot? Some more news. The Cincinnati Reds are in agreement with utility player Derek Dietrich on a one-year deal. Dietrich played with the Marlins his whole career. I like this move too. The Reds are getting better slowly each day. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode, getting Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp and Sonny Gray and Alex Wood. The Reds are going to be better than most people think. I think the Reds will be in fourth place. Right now, they're not as good as the Cubs, Cardinals, or Brewers. But they're going to be there soon. They're slowly building. You got rid of Billy Hamilton. Hamilton signing with the Royals. That means you'll have Jesse Winker playing every day. You still have Scott Schebler, who I don't really know what they're going to do with. Probably as a utility outfielder, backup bench player. You'll have Puig in right, Winker in center, and most likely Matt Kemp in left. They still have Nick Senzel, their number one prospect, still in the minors. Still young, though. So, yeah, he has some time. He's been moved around a lot. But the offense of the Reds is going to be pretty good this year, along with some starting pitching additions. Sonny Gray, Tanner Roark, Alex Wood, and sticking with some of their homegrown talent, Luis Castillo and Sal Romano. So the Reds are slowly getting better. Derek Dietrich will be that utility infielder, and I think he can even play some of the outfield too, if I'm not mistaken. But he'll be on the bench, most likely on the Major League club. Ben Revere has signed a minor league deal with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers are adding some depth to their outfield too. They're getting Hunter Pence. They have Delano DeShields. Ryan Rua's coming up. Shin-Soo Choo's been there for a long time. So they're just adding. Ben Revere is a good speedy guy. He'll steal a base for you when needed. He's going to have to prove his worth in spring training. So we'll see. Also, the Padres, after adding Manny Machado, not as big of a move, but it's certainly a good one. They've signed lefty reliever Aaron Loop to a one-year deal. Around $1.4 million for Loop. Again, these low-risk, high-reward deals. I like this deal for the Padres. They needed some bullpen help. Aaron Loup is a proven veteran, lefty, by the way, left-hander. Played with the Phillies and the Blue Jays last season. This is a good sign. He has the chance to be the closer in games. Right now, Kirby Yates is their closer, but I think Loup, for me, if I was Andy Green, I would make Loup the closer and maybe Kirby Yates as a setup man, but that's just me. We'll see. That's what spring training's for again. Just looking through my notes here. Let's see. Cameron Maybin going to the Giants. We might have talked about that already. But again, outfield depth. They got Gerardo Parra. They got Yangervis Solarte. Again, with some of their rookies. At low risk, high reward move. You get the speed. You get the contact. Veteran, too, by the way. Trade piece if you need him to. If you want to go that route. But he's a good veteran outfielder. He gets traded around a lot. And same thing with Curtis Granderson. Curtis Granderson went to the Marlins. He most likely will be a trade piece at the trade deadline to a contending team, just like last year with the Brewers. So Maybin will probably not be on the team the whole year, but it'll give them some outfield depth if they want to go that route. So a lot of this news of these free agent signings, we've actually had a baseball game. Well, somewhat of a baseball game. Thursday, February 21st, was the first spring training game for the 2019 season. It was between the Seattle Mariners and the Oakland Athletics. Kind of. The game was postponed due to rain. It only lasted 2 innings. It was 5-0 Mariners in the second inning when the game was called due to the rain showers. When we just had a glitter of hope that baseball was back, the baseball gods took it away from us that easily. Paul Blackburn started the game for the A's. Marco Gonzalez started for the Mariners. This game has been postponed, so it most likely will be played out at a later date. Some upcoming games for Friday, February 22nd. The Phillies and Rays will be playing. Irvin Cole on the mound for the Phillies and Austin Pruitt for the Rays. And then we have the Detroit Tigers playing the Fire and the Boston Red Sox versus the Huskies. And these are all college teams. And then Saturday is when you have the real games starting. But anyway, we had a glitter of hope, people. The baseball gods gave us 2 innings. 2 innings. But hopefully we will get more games underway this weekend, and spring training has officially begun. It's an exciting time to be a baseball fan. But now the big question is, where is Bryce Harper going to sign? That's what we're focused on right now. Bryce Harper still doesn't have a team yet. I told you last episode that I think the Phillies would be the best fit for him. I still think they are. I still think they're the top targets. But not only is Harper unsigned, you still have Dallas Keuchel. We still have Craig Kimbrell. We still have Marwin Gonzalez unsigned. Jose Iglesias. All these people who don't have jobs yet are some of the best players in the major leagues. So, we still have some free agents out there looking for jobs. And they'll get them eventually. It's just, you would like to have players know who they're going to play for before the spring training games actually start. But nowadays in baseball, that just doesn't happen. So spring training is underway. And this has been the second episode of the Jared Watson MLB podcast. I hope you all enjoyed. Episode 3 will be coming out next Friday. I think I'm going to try to do an episode every Friday. I think that's going to work. Every Friday at 8. That's what I'm going to shoot for. Every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I thank you all for listening. You all have been great with the support. Keep it up. Please feel free to share on social media and on YouTube. I thank you all. This is Jared Watson signing off. God bless.